Okay, so I'm going to try and get a little more done on this. So a little bit ago I bolted the governor back up here so it wasn't hanging down, and I've been kind of messing around with pulling the plate off of this and trying to free these up, but I'm not getting very far with that. I gotta figure out the fuel line setup so I can try and get it hooked in. But I've got down below, down there, you can see some fittings, and that is, there's two of them, one here and one here. That's for your thing here, your filter. I can't think of what it's called at the moment. Anyway, I don't want to wire that in yet, so I went down and I bought a chunk of hose, so I'm gonna bend it and put it on there just so I'm not losing my oil when I try and fire this thing up. So I gotta try and get that on there. Gotta try and get this figured out and the fuel line hooked up. I need to figure out where I need to go with my return line, and I still need to free up the throttle pedal. I need to tighten these water lines to their compressor, and I need to finish wiring the starter up after I finish tightening it up. I gotta figure out if it's supposed to be positive ground or negative ground, and I'm almost thinking negative ground, but I need to find out for sure, and then I'll wire it up and just simply wire it up to where I can fire the motor up, because I gotta figure out all the wiring on this truck anyway. So, because all this stuff hanging here, I gotta figure out where all that's supposed to go, because it was kind of all tore out of here when I got the things. So I need to see if I can even find a new wiring harness for it. If I can get a new wiring harness for it, for the firewall, for the headlights, and in the cab, that'll be pretty nice. But I don't know what I can get. I haven't done a whole lot of looking. I just want to get this thing running. And then, so I'm going to try and get this thing on there. And we'll see how far I get on this thing this week. Try and get somewhere. We'll find out. Okay, first problem is those fittings down there aren't the right size for this. I took the fitting size off of the hoses on that were hooked to the other motor, so I gotta swap fittings. I gotta take the two fittings off of this block, come out of there, and there, and I hope that they're both the right size going in the block. They should be. I hope they are. So I'm going to try it. Okay, so I got them off, and we're going to try and put them on here. Alright, so I got it in there. Right there. That's about all I'm going to do for tonight. Tomorrow I'll try and get a cap on here, or even swap over the oil pressure gauge off the other motor. And I gotta still figure this thing out. I I gotta figure out what this truck did for a return. And so far that's gonna be a challenge. And then I still gotta figure out the fuel system, which is laying out here now. So, and I still gotta do my intake and stuff, but it's getting dark enough. I wanna do some in the daylight. And so I figure I'll go in and eat my supper, and I don't know what I'll do after that. Then tomorrow I'll try and get some more done on this, and that way hopefully I can get this thing running here pretty soon. Still gotta tighten these up. I guess I can do that real quick. It won't be too big of a deal. Do I have 7/8? Thought I did. Anyway, there's a 15/16. So I'll get these tightened up for tonight. Alright, that's tight. So tomorrow I'm gonna mess around with trying to figure the intake out. I think I got it figured pretty well. May have to loosen up all these bolts here on the edge of the turbo and spin this a little bit to get this to line up here. So hopefully I can get that figured out too. And then I gotta figure out how to wire in that starter. And then shouldn't take a lot of work, but I need to figure out how to get the fuel system hooked up. Once that's hooked up, I'll go get some fuel and prime the thing. And I gotta figure that other thing out too, the return line. So, anyway, that'll be all for tonight. We'll get going on it again in the morning. Okay, so today I'm gonna try and take this off. And then I'm gonna take and loosen all these bolts up here on the turbo and see if I can't rotate it a little bit to where I can get the other crossover pipe back on. So I'm gonna mess around with that, see if I can get somewhere with it. Alright, so I got it to rotate. So now I gotta move some stuff over there so I can get the crossover pipe back on. And I'm gonna get that end of the crossover pipe all secure and everything before I tighten up the turbo. That way I know it fits. Okay, since I don't have a gasket, I'm going to use some silicone. It'll be alright with that. Maybe I'll use silicone. Okay. This further out of the way here. Alright, that should be enough. So, take and get my bolts ready. One almost feels like it's trying to strip out over here. So I won't tighten it anymore. Okay. kind of see where this angles off here a little bit. Alright, so that's all tightened up. Now we got an intake. Okay, now I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do next.